Welcome to the Mystery and History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Betty Page, known as the Queen of Pinups, appears alongside her sister Goldie in the United States during the 1950s. A mother and her son watched a mushroom cloud formation during a test in the Nevada desert, United States, in 1953. The region hosted frequent military experiments in remote areas. In the 1930s, makeup specialist Max Factor created the Beauty Micrometer, a device that measured facial imperfections. The metal apparatus was adjusted at multiple facial points to guide cosmetic corrections in film studios. Mount Fuji was photographed through the periscope of the submarine USS Trigger, SS-237, during a patrol off Japan in 1943. A Salvation Army worker wrote a letter to the family of a wounded soldier during a support mission in a conflict zone. Pants worn by the German leader were recovered after the assassination attempt at Wolf's Lair in East Prussia in 1944. The garment shows visible holes and damage caused by the device planted by opponents. Heinrich Himmler and Antonio Sagardía Ramos toured facilities in Barcelona in 1940 where secret cells had been built based on graphic artist Alphonse Lorenzic's designs. Two youths were chained in public punishment after being arrested for theft on Old Street, London, England in 1872. The practice was common in the 19th century as a public deterrent against repeat offenses. A kneeling man pleaded for his wife's forgiveness inside the divorce court in Chicago, Illinois, in 1948. An 11-year-old boy was photographed after being arrested for automobile theft in Santa Monica, Los Angeles during the 1940s. The image is part of the local juvenile police records. Handcuffed criminals pulled a cart in the yard of Dartmoor Prison in England during the 19th century. Elton John performed at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, United States on June 15, 1975, during his Rocket Man tour. U.S. soldiers took up positions at Con Thien, Vietnam, in October 1967 during the conflict's escalation. At that time, the U.S. government under President Lyndon B. Johnson had expanded military operations. The Titanic departed Southampton, England in 1912 on its maiden voyage to New York City. Over 2,200 people, crew and passengers, boarded amid great excitement and confidence. A homing pigeon fitted with a small format camera conducted reconnaissance flights over Europe in 1915 during World War I. Kindergarten teachers wheeled toddlers in group strollers through Lichtenberg, East Berlin, Germany in the 1950s. The outing took place on the Rosenfelder Ring Road during post-war reconstruction. A week's food ration for 2 people was displayed in the United Kingdom in 1943 during wartime supply controls. Cars and pedestrians navigated Lombard Street in San Francisco, California, United States in 1975 on a busy tourist day. Jesse Owens competed at Berlin's Olympic Stadium, Germany in the 1936 Olympic Games. He won 4 gold medals in the 100-meter dash, long jump, and the 4x 100-meter relay. An unemployed lumber worker traveled with his wife to a bean harvest in Oregon, United States, in 1939. A hand-tattooed Social Security number was visible on his arm as identification. Bruce Lee was photographed teaching martial arts moves to his son Brandon in Los Angeles, California, United States, in 1966. Salvador Dalí was photographed in 1954 using his mustache as a paintbrush in an artistic performance in the United States. Inventor Franz Reichelt prepared to test his parachute suit from the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, in 1912. He had designed the garment as an aviator safety system, combining fabric and a foldable frame. The central core of the Twin Towers was visible during early construction in New York City, United States, in early 1972. The towers were part of the World Trade Center complex and used an innovative steel column design. People gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., United States on August 28, 1963, to hear Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech during the Civil Rights Movement. Winston Churchill waved to crowds gathered in Whitehall, London, during Victory in Europe Day celebrations in 1945. Thousands gathered in Red Square, Moscow, Soviet Union, to celebrate the end of the war with Germany in 1945. Maori soldiers of New Zealand's 28th Battalion performed the traditional haka in 1941 during a military ceremony. The display preceded an operation in North Africa as a demonstration of strength and unity. John Schrank, a German-American tavern owner, is seen smiling beside police officers around October 1912 in the United States. The mascot cat of Finland's 44th Flying Squadron rested inside a pilot's boot in Joensuu during the Continuation War in 1942. The animal's presence was common among aircrews, helping relieve military stress. The Apollo 1 crew took part in a ceremony at Cape Canaveral, Florida, United States in 1966, asking for the command module's safety. Lee Harvey Oswald is seen with his wife Marina and their young daughter in a Dallas, Texas neighborhood in 1962. Johnny Cash performed at Folsom State Prison in California, United States in 1968 before hundreds of inmates. During the show, he sang Greystone Chapel, written by prisoner Glenn Shirley. Astronaut Dale Gardner held up a "For Sale" sign in space after retrieving 2 damaged satellites during the Discovery STS-51A mission in 1984. Buzz Aldrin arrived at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida in July 1969 for final Apollo 11 mission training. The astronaut took part in last-minute simulations ahead of the launch to the Moon, scheduled a week later. Travelers and onlookers gathered at Waterloo Station in London, United Kingdom, in 1936 to watch an experimental television broadcast. The system streamed live black and white images during the BBC's early trials. A billboard in Tokyo, Japan, advertised Star Wars in 1977 during its international release. The display featured Japanese text alongside the film's original promotional poster artwork. Sigourney Weaver tested a flamethrower during Alien rehearsals in 1979 at Shepperton Studios, United Kingdom. Anthony Daniels was photographed backstage on the Star Wars set in 1976, taking a break and smoking a cigarette while still in his C-3PO costume. An early Echronoplan prototype was tested on the Caspian Sea in the 1970s in the former Soviet Union. The experimental craft flew just above the water's surface using ground effect lift to achieve high speeds. A California teacher used surfing to illustrate physics concepts to students during outdoor classes in the 1970s. The board and waves served as practical examples of force, balance, motion, and energy. John Travolta posed with his pilot's hat in the United States in 1985, showcasing his enthusiasm for aviation. Women worked on bomber assembly at an aircraft factory in Seattle, Washington, United States, in 1940 during the national wartime effort. The ships Titanic and Olympic were under construction at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland, in 1910. The massive hulls occupied parallel dry docks and employed thousands in one of the era's largest naval projects. A baby sat in a vintage car seat secured to the front bench of a convertible in the United States in 1958. Marilyn Monroe appeared in the September 1951 issue of Esquire magazine in a photo spread showcasing her rising image in Hollywood. James Dean was photographed sitting in his car signing autographs for fans in the United States in 1955. Slot machines filled the main hall of the Mint Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, United States, in 1958 at the height of tourism and entertainment. The casino was famous for its illuminated facade and drew crowds with gaming, live music, and instant prizes. Miss America finalists posed together on stage during the pageant held in the United States in 1969. Three triplet sisters enjoyed ice cream on a residential sidewalk in the United States in 1965 on a sunny day. The band Nirvana posed in a studio in Los Angeles, California, United States, during the July 1991 photo shoot for the Nevermind album. The Sagrada Familia Basilica was photographed under construction in Barcelona, Spain in 1905. Architect Antoni Gaudí took over the project in 1883, introducing his unique, ornate style. Kumamoto Castle was photographed shortly after the Satsuma Rebellion in Japan in 1877. The structure sustained damage during fighting between imperial government forces and rebels led by Saigo Takamori. A Japanese nobleman wore ceremonial robes at the Imperial Palace in Japan around 1877-1880 during court ceremonies. Actress and model Irish Makala posed for artist Alberto Vargas in the United States around the 1950s. Known for portraying Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, she stood out for her athletic build and height of 5 feet 10 inches, 1.78 meters. The sound isolation helmet was invented in 1925 by science fiction author Hugo Gernsback in the United States to boost work concentration. The helmet covered the entire head, blocked external noise, and featured a ventilation tube and front visor. A sign warned of an escapee from the federal penitentiary in Marion, Williamson County, Illinois, in October 1975. The notice was posted along the main highway near the prison complex to inform residents and drivers. An Arizona advertisement in the 1950s promoted buying a house with a swimming pool. The copy highlighted a price of $9,800, deemed affordable for families seeking comfort and leisure. Residents and merchants roamed a street market in Hong Kong, China during the 1950s amid urban reconstruction. Alphonse Bertillon posed for an identification photograph at the Paris police station in 1912. He had created the Bertillon system using body measurements for identification in 1883. West German citizens offered food and drinks to East German border guards on November 10th, 11th, 1989, one day after the Berlin Wall fell. The gesture at newly opened checkpoints marked a moment of reconciliation. A 1936 design proposal showed how Mount Rushmore would appear carved into the Black Hills of South Dakota, United States. Sculptor Gutzon Borglum had drafted plans for 8 leaders' faces since 1927, but the project was scaled back to 4. Typical East German apartment blocks rose in an urban area in 1975 with a large Erich Honecker poster on the facade. These standardized buildings were part of socialist government housing projects. A llama was driven through Times Square, New York City in 1957 as part of a promotional stunt. Pedestrians and shopkeepers walked along Mott Street in New York City's Chinatown after a heavy snowstorm in March 1983. Visitors at the 1962 Seattle World's Fair took part in the Mobile Economy Run Simulator, which tested driving skills focused on fuel efficiency. Frida Kahlo painted lying in her bed in Mexico in 1940 after an accident left her immobilized for nearly a year. She used an adapted easel and mirrors mounted to the canopy to keep creating her art. Black Panther Party volunteers served meals in their free breakfast program in Harlem, New York City in spring 1969. The initiative aimed to fight child hunger and promote social action in urban communities. Wilbur Wright flew over the Statue of Liberty in New York City, United States in 1909, piloting one of his early aircraft. The flight was part of a public demonstration to promote aviation and drew significant media and public attention. A peanut vendor served customers in Lower Manhattan, New York City in 1945 amid the city's bustling streets. He used a cart with metal compartments to keep his goods warm and fresh. Cars and pedestrians traveled along Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills, California in 1925 during Southern California's urban expansion. The paved palm-lined thoroughfare linked residential areas with Hollywood's burgeoning film studios. Nena von Schlee-Brugge, mother of actress Uma Thurman, posed for Vogue magazine in 1958 during a photo shoot in New York City, United States. Arnold Schwarzenegger worked out in a weight room in the United States in 1979 during his bodybuilding and rising acting career. The gym featured classic iron equipment and mirrors typical of the era. McDonald's menu in the United States in 1970 listed hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, and milkshakes priced between $0.15 and $0.35, reflecting fast food's rising popularity. Walt Disney was photographed alongside his sister Ruth in 1906 in the United States when they were children. Women with surfboards posed on a California beach in the United States around the 1960s. United Airlines flight attendants posed in uniform at a U.S. airport in the early 1970s. Drew Barrymore appeared alongside her grandfather's friend Vincent Price in 1984 during a family gathering in Los Angeles, California, United States. The 9-year-old actress was already known for her roles in hit American films. A NATO celebration poster created in 1989 incorporated ironic elements about member countries using national symbols and stereotypes. In-flight meals, including chef's salad, filet mignon, and ice cream, were prepared in a Pan Am Clipper galley on the flight from San Francisco to New Zealand in 1948. Robert Mitchum and actress Lila Leeds appeared in court in Los Angeles, California, United States, after receiving 60-day sentences in 1949. The chief engineer of the Golden Gate Bridge mandated installing a safety net beneath the span during its 1930s construction. Teenagers posed in a bedroom during a pajama party in the United States around 1910, pretending to yawn for the camera. New York's Fat Men's Club brought together above-average weight men in the early 20th century as an exclusive social group. Ontario's Premier Mitchell Hepburn was photographed alongside the Dion quintuplets around 1934 in Canada. People strolled through a Norwegian town's streets during the 1890s in a spontaneous record of daily life. Participants competed in the traditional Fat Men's Race in Moscow, Idaho in 1911 during a local summer event. The race was held in good humor and included specific minimum weight rules for runners. Protesters ran down Nevsky Prospect in Petrograd, Russia on July 4, 1917, during a demonstration against the provisional government. Official forces used weapons to disperse the crowd. A technician accessed the engine of an airship during flight in 1936, performing inspection and maintenance mid-air. A rare coin depicting Cleopatra VII was struck in Greece around the 1st century BC during her alliance with Rome. A man took part in a driving proficiency test using a basic simulator in Hungary during the 1980s. Claudia Cardinale was photographed on the set of The Professionals in 1966 during filming in the Nevada desert, United States. Workers moved an entire house in Karaka Bay near Wellington, New Zealand, around 1910. The structure was raised on wooden tracks and shifted using pulleys, ropes, and manpower. The Concorde flew over Sydney Harbour, Australia in 1972 during an international aerial demonstration. The terracotta warriors were unearthed in Xi'an, China, with vibrant colors preserved underground for over 2 millennia. Reds, blues, greens, and purples appeared on the figures immediately after excavation, before rapidly fading upon exposure to air. Tina Louise posed at home wearing short shorts in the United States around the late 1950s. Robert Duvall held a script for Marlon Brando during a break on the set of The Godfather in the United States in 1971. The backstage moment captured Brando preparing to portray Don Vito Corleone. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.